Hello, BookTube. This is a continuing shelf tour of the 7th bookcase. Nautical fiction primarily, but with some nautical nonfiction. This is the 4th shelf, and it's the second part of that shelf. So we'll continue on with a little bit of nonfiction, and these are Coast Guard books. This is Rescue at Sea, 2nd edition by John M. Waters, Jr., Captain, United States Coast Guard, retired. This was Naval Institute Press, Annapolis, Maryland, and from 1989. Does have some illustrations. Let's see if we can find something else here. And then moving right along, when I was a coxswain on a 44-foot motor lifeboat, and that's the kind of boat shown here. So this is Lifeboat Sailors, Disasters, Rescues, and the Perilous Future of the Coast Guard Small Boat Stations. And, this was 2000, and it's Dennis L. Noble is the author. Let's see here. Get some good pictures. There we go. Wonderful book, great stories. And then this one here is Irving H. King, The Coast Guard Expands, 1865 to 1950. Excellent history. Again, Naval Institute Press. I have looked for his other volumes in this series. So this came out in 1996. He also did a book called George Washington's Coast Guard, and then The Coast Guard Under Sail, both of which I've looked for, but I've always found them they're really expensive, so I haven't been able to pick them up. But if I find them at a reasonable price, I certainly would. And then we're going to go into some fiction. S. Thomas Russell, Under Enemy Colors. And papers. This is, oh, look at that. Very nice. This was published in 2007. It's around the time of the French Revolution. Charles Saunders Haydn is one of Britain's most able naval officers, an ambitious young lieutenant born to an English father and a French mother. But despite his abilities and his unshakable loyalty to Britain, Haydn's career is damned by his mixed heritage and lack of connections, which is how he finds himself assigned to the Themis, a frigate under the command of Captain Josiah Hart, an officer reviled by his crew for both his brutality towards his men and his faint-heartedness in battle. And then we have a Tom Kringles log by Michael Scott. This is part of the Heart of Oak Sea Classics. And I've got a few of these, but not many. They were a wonderful series of reprints. Henry Holt is the publisher. And so the foreword's by Dean King and introduction by Thomas Philbrick. This reprint was $99. I don't know what the original publication date was, but Michael Scott died in 1835. So, yeah, when you see these Heart of Oak Sea Classics, I've usually found them to be pretty good. Then here's Peter Benchleys' The Island. There's the author. A lot of you will know him as the author of Jaws. This is a Book Club Associate volume that is from 1979. Let's see. 2 men and a boy on the boat they chartered to game fishermen are lazing away the hottest hours of the Caribbean day when they notice a canoe which appears to be adrift. They maneuver it alongside their boat. One of the men reaches to pull back the tarpaulin, which conceals whatever it contains, and the reader receives a jolting shock, which reminds him of those famous first pages of Jaws. So, Mr. Benchley. Then we'll finish up here with a series. It's David Donachet, The Devil's Own Luck, The Privateersman's Mysteries. This is number 1. back. So, 1793, the onset of Britain's conflict with revolutionary France. Harry Ludlow, forced out of the Royal Navy, becomes a privateer in partnership with his younger brother James. But for the Ludlows, murder and intrigue take more of their time than hunting fat trading vessels. Harry and James find themselves aboard the Navy's 74-gun Magnanimity. In command is a captain with whom Harry has crossed swords in the past. When James is found standing over the body of a dead officer, Harry's feud shifts into the background. From the dark bowels of this troubled ship of the line, where perversity hides in the shadows, secrets start to surface on all sides. So these are mysteries set in the age of sail, fighting sail. So the number 2 here is A Dying Trade. Beautiful cover again. And they look familiar, these covers. So let me see. Yep, these are Jeff Hunt. So A Hanging Matter, which is number 3. And this is An Element of Chance. Trying to keep the glare off. Glare. The Scent of Betrayal, number 5. And finally, A Game of Bones. So that's David Donachet. And that wraps up the 4th shelf. There's one more shelf to go, and then we're done with the nautical fiction, a little nonfiction shelf number, bookcase number 7. Thank you, BookTube.